Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 1,000th time in the past 3 years since President Trump has taken office that new revelations show that President Trump is on the ropes and that any moment now, any moment he's going to be removed from office, any moment he's going to work with Russia, or we're going to find out direct evidence that he worked with Russia to hack the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Any moment Michael Cohen is going to flip and sing and Stormy and Avenatti and just think of all the his tax returns, even though the IRS has them. And now impeachment. He withheld military assistance to go after Biden. And there was no reason to do so. You're going to hear right now a reason to do so from Representative Elise Stefanik and Ambassador Yovanovitch. This is PBS. But before we listen to that, new revelations today. Oh my God, this is the 1,000th time that something has taken place, and it's going to lead to absolutely nothing, or it's going to lead to President Trump actually fundraising what? $100 million, 40 plus million just from the impeachment alone. So he has well over 100 million. The estimate is supposed to be he's going to get close to 2 billion. And Clinton will be the nominee. But anyway, Biden has no interest in becoming nominee. He told coal miners to learn to code. This is after saying he's going to pick a Republican vice president. And this is after saying that he's going to be a one-term president. So give me a break. But anyway, new cover-up questions in Trump's Ukraine scandal. They don't have any direct evidence. So there's no direct evidence. Just like there's no direct evidence that Joe Biden fired a prosecutor because that prosecutor was looking into the corporation funneling millions to his son, about $3.4 million by one estimate. There's no evidence that Trump withheld military assistance for personal gain. Even President Zelensky and President Poroshenko both state that he did not, that there was no pressure, there was no leverage. But of course, Democrats, the arrogant, egotistical narcissists they are, have literally accused President Zelensky of the Ukraine of lying and just worrying about Trump and Poroshenko also. So Democrats, if anything doesn't fit their narrative, someone must be lying, even though it would behoove President Zelensky to actually state if he actually was leveraged. He would gain even more military assistance because then media and everybody else, oh my God, we have to give even more. So anyway, the whole point, that's what they did with Trump-Russia. But anyway, President Obama was not as belligerent towards the Kremlin as Trump. The whole thing is about military aid, lethal aid to Ukraine. But anyway, Washington Post. One of the GOP's chief talking points in its impeachment defense of President Trump has been this: the U.S. military aid to Ukraine was withheld, yes, but it was released without any quid pro quo being satisfied. Ipso facto, nothing to see here. That already strained talking point suffered a significant defeat Thursday. Really? Why? Why did that suffer a defeat, but everyone believes that Biden had no conflicts of interest, even though Marie Ivanovich stated that President Obama's administration knew of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's conflicts of interest. And we'll get to that in a moment. But these are new emails, unredacted. Oh my God, they're unredacted. You mean he didn't delete yoga emails? You mean Trump didn't delete 30,000 yoga emails? He didn't store these emails on private servers that had top secret and special access program intelligence and thousands of classified emails? Oh, that's right. Only Clinton could get away with that. Why? Because it's about yoga. See, they believe that. They don't care, they believe that. But Trump had to have withheld military assistance, even though there's no direct evidence. Just Security's Kate Brennan was able to view unredacted emails in which the Office of Management and Budget in the Defense Department discussed the withholding of military aid. The big new takeaway is that there was significant concern with the Pentagon about the legality and sustainability of the hold. So what? So you had government workers, you had people in the Pentagon voicing their thoughts about withholding military assistance. How many times did President Obama withhold military assistance? Many times throughout his presidency. So what? You mean to tell me if you found somebody that had a question about it within government, or somebody talking about President Obama's decision during his administration, that meant that there was a corrupt motive in doing so? Despite that, according to one email from top OMB official Michael Duffy on August 30th, there was a, quote, clear direction from POTUS to continue to hold. So what? We already know this. The even bigger takeaway, though, may be how much this fact was obscured. The emails were previously released in redacted form, but many of the redaction choices are puzzling and even suspicious. At least they weren't deleted. The redaction included repeated reference to legal problems with withholding the aid, basic questions about the subject, and warnings that waiting until too late in the fiscal year might mean that some of the funds would never get to Ukraine. So you mean to tell me these government officials are actually talking about the best ways, the most lawful way, or the most lawful manner to ensure that Ukraine does get the assistance eventually? You mean there aren't any admissions of guilt? There aren't any emails from President Obama? From President Trump saying, do this because I'm so afraid of Biden? Where's the direct evidence? Where's the direct evidence? Even in these new emails, there's nothing there. This is an article. Do Democrats have enough smoking gun evidence for impeachment? 538. Early December. There is at present no single piece of evidence that conclusively links Trump to the Ukraine scandal, like the tape transcript of President Nixon ordering the Watergate cover-up. There you go. 538 is more of a liberal publication. That is brilliantly stated in 538. Brilliantly stated. There is at present no single piece of information that conclusively links Trump to the Ukraine scandal, like the tape transcript of President Nixon ordering the Watergate cover-up. Democrats' case against Trump, on the other hand, doesn't have one key piece of evidence directly linking Trump to a quid pro quo. Again, Democrats' case against Trump, on the other hand, doesn't have that one key piece of evidence directly linking Trump to a quid pro quo. I'm going to be quoting this article every single day. Okay? It's a brilliant article in 538. Do Democrats have enough? No, they don't. Okay? This is an acknowledgement in a publication that liberals read all the time. There's also an acknowledgement in the Associated Press. Both articles are below. Yet, this is the Associated Press, quote, yet the impeachment witness accounts left one prominent hole that offered a lifeline for Trump and his GOP allies. None of the witnesses could personally attest that Trump directly conditioned the release of the $400 million in military aid on a Ukrainian announcement of investigations into former Vice President Joe Biden and the Democratic National Committee. First of all, they should have been investigated. They're highly corrupt, the DNC was, and Biden... the investigation of Burisma and Biden and Hunter is warranted. Why? Let's listen to Elise Stefanik. This will be below. I'm going to add this into the description section. Check this out, everybody. And so there were emails, unredacted emails, that show absolutely positively nothing. Absolutely positively nothing that we already didn't know. You can go on before I get to, this is one journalist, a DOJ blacked out McCuster's comment about OMD lawyers continue to consistently mischaracterize the process. An entire draft letter for the Deputy Defense Secretary acting warning that we have repeatedly advised OMB that pauses beyond August 19, 2019 jeopardize the department's ability to obligate the funding. So what? Now, anything Trump does, I don't want to get into the foreign policy right now. Yeah, I certainly don't want it escalated. But now, it's funny. Now Democrats are the doves. The other day, they were the hawks. Now they're the doves. They're still backed by Max Boot and Bill Kristol. And President Obama engaged in that endlessly. Not one peep from Democrats suddenly, so I don't want to get into it on this channel. I probably will eventually on H.A. Goodman's other channel. But now they're looking at these emails that the DNC and the campaign emails warped their brains. Do you understand? They want a repeat. They want their version of emails that just incriminate Trump, but you can't because he's not as corrupt as Democrats. President Trump is not nearly as corrupt as the most insidious, duplicitous, disingenuous political party in the Democratic Party that cheated Bernie Sanders and got him to flip against his own interests and promote the same myth that said that he was cheated because of a Russian plot to inform the country he was cheated. And, oh, by the way, the intelligence reports also state that the Russians were propping up Bernie. So he's literally propping up nonsense that says, based on high confidence assessment, not certainty, that the DNC was hacked. Why? Because they also wanted to prop up Bernie Sanders, in addition to Trump. But anyway, let's just listen to this. This is Elise Stefanik, brilliant representative in Congress. Listen to this. This is the PBS NewsHour Representative Elise Stefanik questions Ambassador Yovanovitch about Burisma. This is an amazing exchange, and the interesting thing here is that you have a lot more. If you wanted to go ahead and defend President Trump, just look at the impeachment witnesses. The impeachment witnesses actually defend Trump inadvertently. It's pretty beautiful, but check this out.
But let's take a step back. The first time you personally became aware of Burisma was actually when you were being prepared by the Obama State Department for your Senate confirmation hearings. And this was in the form of practice questions and answers. This was your deposition. And you testified that in this particular practice Q&A with the Obama State Department, it wasn't just generally about Burisma and corruption, it was specifically about Hunter Biden and Burisma. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Specifically about Hunter Biden and Burisma. Is that correct, Ambassador Yovanovitch? During President Obama's administration, Ambassador Yovanovitch, that they were even worried about Burisma and Hunter. That's just my Hunter Biden. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, during President Obama's administration, they gave us talking points because everyone knew of the conflicts of interest. Isn't that right? Democrats in the Washington Post and the New York Times and the Twitter Tron alternate reality where liberals retweet themselves into oblivion and pretend that Trump's on the ropes and he's like on his way easily going to win. But it's going to be Clinton 2020 and they don't even see it yet. I left that world. I left that cult called the Democratic Party. I left that very unhealthy, dysfunctional atmosphere. And I'm telling you, Clinton's going to be nominee. And that's what this is all about. Does this help Biden? Does impeachment help Biden? No. Check it out.
And the exact quote from your testimony, Ambassador, is, quote, the way the question was phrased in this model Q&A was, what can you tell us about Hunter Biden's, being named to the board of Burisma? So for the millions of Americans watching, President Obama's own State Department was so concerned about potential conflicts of interest from Hunter Biden's role at Burisma that they raised it themselves while prepping this wonderful ambassador nominee before her confirmation. And yet our Democratic colleagues and the chairman of this committee cry foul when we dare ask that same question that the Obama State Department was so concerned about. But we will continue asking it. And lastly, in my 20 seconds left, I just want to get it on record. In terms of defensive lethal aid, which you were an advocate for, that was not provided by President Obama. It was provided by President Trump.
That's correct.
So Putin was so afraid. Oh, he was so afraid of Clinton that he had to hack the DNC, but not her private server because Putin's not smart enough. Do you understand that his brain he's just not smart enough. He's not good at chess, okay? The top, one of the, perhaps, I guess, in the history of Russia, he is you would say one of the most powerful leaders in the history of that country. Okay, he wasn't smart enough to hack Clinton's server running on Microsoft Exchange software. That was not smart enough. But he wanted to hack the DNC, yeah. He was so afraid of Clinton. Why? Because President Obama was so tough on the Russians that he didn't provide lethal aid to Ukraine. You want to know who did? The orange Putin puppet, Trump. You have to be a real imbecile to believe Democrats and the nonsense of the Washington Post and Brennan. John Brennan and James Comey and Andrew McCabe. And James Clapper, why do you think they're on MSNBC and getting published in the Washington Post? Why? Because of their immense knowledge of intelligence matters? These are the biggest failures in the history of intelligence and warfare and espionage and in the history of statecraft. The biggest failures of all time. Well, actually, I guess Cheney and Rumsfeld and everybody. So maybe alongside the biggest failures. They allowed 4 years of a private server because they couldn't do anything about it. They're like, They had no authority to even if you want to say, oh, well, they took measures and they knew what was going on with the server. It doesn't matter. The American people think, or they told the American people, Democrats are very proud of this, that it was all sanctioned and everything was fine and nobody hacked Clinton's servers. But the narrative is completely obliterated by the impeachment witnesses. It was President Trump who provided lethal aid. It was not President Obama. President Trump provided lethal aid to Ukraine. President Obama failed to veto a sale of 20% of U.S. uranium capacity to the Kremlin. As cash flowed to the Clinton Foundation, millions from Uranium One officials. But Putin is afraid of Clinton, not Trump. Because why? Because, let's look. Let's look right here. It's in the description section of every one of my segments. The amazing intelligence community, the beautiful, amazing intelligence community, oh my God, they should be so revered. Why? This is from the ODNI report. Judgments are not intended to apply that we have proof that shows something to be a fact. Assessments are based on collected information, which is often incomplete or fragmentary. High confidence generally indicates that judgments are based on high-quality information from multiple sources. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. Baby, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I love you, and I just can't imagine a future without you. I want to grow old with you, and I want to just be with you forever. How do you feel about me? Well, judgments are not intended to imply that we have proof that shows something to be a fact. Assessments are based on collected information, which is often incomplete or fragmentary. High confidence generally indicates that judgments are based on high-quality information from multiple sources. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. Is that a judgment that you love me? Or, what did you just say? Well, I believe strongly that I love you. However, high confidence in a judgment does not imply that an assessment is a fact or a certainty. Such judgments might be wrong. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? They're very honest in their deception. John Brennan even stated, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. This whole thing is a giant scam, farce, charade, and they're telling you. I just quoted the ODNI report. Look it up. The Office of Director of National Intelligence. I'm not making anything up. Well, you want the Mueller report? Here. People still think that Trump worked with Russia? This is in the Mueller report. Second, while the investigation identified numerous links between individuals with ties to the Russian government and individuals associated with the Trump campaign, the evidence was not sufficient to support criminal charges. Among other things, the evidence was not sufficient to charge any campaign official as an unregistered agent of the Russian government or the Russian principal. And our evidence about the June 9, 2016 meeting, and the eventual release of hacked material was not sufficient to charge a criminal campaign finance violation. Further, the evidence was not sufficient to charge that any member of the Trump campaign conspired with representatives of the Russian government to interfere in the 2016 election. And then they say, well, he invited and he enjoyed and he invited the support of Russia. Quote, further, the evidence was not sufficient to charge that any member of the Trump campaign conspired with representatives of the Russian government to interfere in the 2016 election. So tell us more about, there were Pentagon officials who were like talking about when the best time to give the assistance was. Then they're like, there were officials that said that according to a certain date, they had to give the assistance by. Oh my God. So what? Who cares? Who cares? Where's the evidence? Where is the evidence? Because we already have evidence. Like the documentary evidence regarding conflicts of interest is there's direct evidence regarding that because President Obama's administration gave actual talking points. You just heard that from Representative Elise Stefanik and Ambassador Yovanovitch. That is actually direct evidence of an acknowledgement. Direct evidence of an acknowledgement of conflicts of interest. Where's the direct evidence of an acknowledgement anywhere that Trump was worried about Biden? Nobody's worried about Biden. He's not going to be nominee. This whole thing is for Clinton. This is, okay, look, $1 billion. She spent $1.2 billion. She lost. But think of how many people benefited. Biden wouldn't even get the popular vote. He wouldn't even get the popular vote. And people say, well, you said, okay. If it's not Clinton, because it is going to be Clinton, but let's say in an alternate reality, it's Biden, I would still make out, because then it would be like landslide, epic proportion, the biggest, they would be so mortified, and some people say, oh, you can't get out of it, you said, yeah, it ain't going to be Biden. But if it's Biden, this channel, my writing, still vindicated, okay? And it ain't going to be Biden because they know this. Why do you think Trump is trolling all the time and saying, yeah, we need a rematch, we need a rematch? Why do you think Clinton has stated, yeah, I'm every day people tell me I'm still keeping the door open? When either Clinton, when Bill or Hillary hint at something, that means they want it. But people are petrified to accept the reality that, you're talking about two of the most power-hungry people. Ambition, quest for political influence and ambition not seen since Attila the Hun. And like, you're just normal people. Yeah, right. So anyway, unbridled ambition. Democrats, like, they're playing themselves. This is going to be the ain't no future in your frontin' election, MC Breed election. Everyone is just playing themselves, fronting, pretending, deceiving themselves willingly. Yeah, I think Bernie has a chance, Oh, really? Because when I was saying that in 2016, everyone was like, no way. And then even some Bernie supporters were like, H.A. bad man, he's so weird. Why was I weird to them? Because I was saying it was Bernie Sanders and a criminal. And they're like, well, you don't want to go too far because that'll help Trump. Well, no, you didn't go far enough. You were afraid. Bernie Sanders was afraid to talk about the emails. I have enough of your emails, Secretary Clinton. Why would I bring up the fact that you had servers with top secret intelligence on them? I mean, if I had one email I deleted, it would have been hashtag Bernard deleted, and you would have said that email was me professing my love to Putin. But you You, with the private servers and the Clinton Foundation and all the Michigas and the pay-to-play, I don't want to bring it up. Why? Because it's a Republican talking point. And that's how I'm going to fight the 1%. Because they're so scared that Bloomberg is part of the picture now. That's how frightened they are. I got them on the ropes. And all those millions upon millions of dollars that people send me, that will definitely will not go to Clinton again when I say vote for Clinton a second time. And I get AOC and everyone else to say vote for Clinton. But the 1% shivering in their boots. How do we know? Because the House controlled, the Democrats controlled the House, and not one progressive bill was passed. So, no Medicare for All bill, no Green New Deal. It was a resolution. It was a public relations stunt. And, no abolishing student debt. The only thing passed was an impeachment. That I'm going to be completely impartial about when I vote to remove the Orange Menace, who, by the way, 5 million people were lifted out of poverty. And also, the poverty rate went from 12.7% under President Obama to Trump, which is 11.3%. What a menace, this man. We must end this monstrosity. Record low unemployment. Signed the First Step Act. Too much. Needs to stop. So, this is all a game. This is all a game. And we'll see when Clinton somehow becomes nominee. I don't care whether she runs tomorrow or runs a day before the, she comes in flying on a jetpack. Why aren't I 50 points ahead? And it's, people say, brokered convention. It's not going to be, yeah, they're going to go into it with Bernie Sanders above, and then they're going to give it to Clinton. No, they cheated Bernie and spent 3 years blaming Russia. You think they're going to just give it to Bernie? We were wrong. The billions upon billions in and media that we devoted to this myth. Yeah, we're just gonna give. You know what? In second, though, we shouldn't have cheated you. Yeah, right. That's not the way the Democrats work. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. The way the Democrats work is the following. They have the media. They have public relations. They pretend to revere government only when it suits them. If it's the White House, they don't revere the White House. But if it's unelected officials, oh my God, they revere them. But if it's the FBI going back in time in a place that doesn't exist, to without any witnesses, to a moment in time, and they take the time machine back, and they can't find anything on Trump's Supreme Court justice, well then, you know what? They didn't do enough due diligence. But when the FBI covers up Clinton's email investigation, allows her to have top secret intelligence on servers running outside of the United States government, how she transferred them, nobody knows. Oh, well, it's totally above board. And when they use a dossier that said Trump likes to get, bodily fluids, raining down upon him, that's very good. That's just raw intelligence. So, let's listen to this again really quickly. This is great. She's fantastic, Elise Stefanik.
By the Obama State Department for your Senate confirmation hearings. And this was in the form of practice questions and answers. This was your deposition. And you testified that in this particular practice Q&A with the Obama State Department, it wasn't just generally about Burisma and corruption, it was specifically about Hunter Biden and Burisma. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And the exact quote from your testimony, Ambassador, is, quote, the way the question was phrased in this model Q&A was, what can you tell us about Hunter Biden's, being named to the board of Burisma? So for the millions of Americans watching, President Obama's own State Department was so concerned about potential conflicts of interest from Hunter Biden's role at Burisma that they raised it themselves while prepping this wonderful ambassador nomination.
What can you tell us about Hunter Biden? They literally gave this ambassador who was saying that Trump should be impeached, or basically there to help impeach Trump. They literally gave this ambassador, one of the impeachment witnesses, talking points as to how to answer that thorny question of that's just my Hunter Biden. Give me your thoughts below. Hey, if to my 29-minute crowd, you will love my upload. I'm going to try to upload a really, really awesome segment honoring the Bill of Rights and a very special amendment in the Bill of Rights. Give me your thoughts below. Check out that segment. Should be up soon on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Thank you so very much. Have a fantastic weekend. 2020 is going to be a beautiful time, ladies and gentlemen. Always only look at public record knowledge, public record sources, and especially publications that are read by Democrats or like PBS. You're looking at public record here. The impeachment witness herself states that President Obama's administration gave her talking points regarding what she would know about Hunter Biden. And yet Trump, God forbid, wants to find out more about Hunter Biden. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.